Cyber Threat Brief for May 12, 2026. Linux systems face a second privilege escalation exploit in 2 weeks with Dirty Frag working reliably across all distributions. Team PCP compromised checkmarks Jenkins plugin days after their last breach. Instructure paid ransomware extortionists to stop the leak of 3.6 TB from Canvas, ending a crisis that disrupted K-12 and university access nationwide. Here's the full breakdown of today's top security stories. Daily Security Brief, May 12, 2026. Next section, Critical Alerts. Linux Dirty Frag Vulnerability, CVE 2026-43284, CVE 2026-43500. Two vulnerabilities allow low-privilege users and untrusted containers to gain root access on Linux systems. Exploit code works reliably across all distributions with no crashes and leaves minimal detection footprint. Microsoft reports signs of in-the-wild exploitation. This is the second severe Linux privilege escalation in 2 weeks, following copyfail, which remains unpatched for end users. Exploit chains CVE 2026-43284 and CVE 2026-43500 together, and both vulnerabilities have EPSS, the exploit prediction scoring system, scores of 0.1 percentile, meaning automated scanners are not yet prioritizing them. Action: apply patches immediately. Debian, Alma Linux, and Fedora have released updates. Check with your distribution maintainer for availability. Prioritize patching on shared environments, multi-tenant systems, and anywhere containers run with reduced privileges. Sources: Ars Technica. Active Directory Certificate Services, Exploitation Palo Alto Unit 42 Analysis reveals Active Directory CS remains a high-impact attack vector despite years of awareness. Adversaries misuse certificate templates and shadow credentials for privilege escalation and persistence without relying on 0 days or malware. Ransomware groups and state-sponsored actors actively exploit insecure default configurations. CVE 2022-26923 is on CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, KEV Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog, due date September 8, 2022, with EPSS 0.914, 100th percentile, indicating extremely high exploitation likelihood. Action: audit certificate templates for overly permissive enrollment rights. Implement behavioral analytics and event log correlation for certificate issuance patterns. Monitor for unexpected certificate requests from non-administrative accounts. Review enrollment permissions on all templates. Source: Palo Alto Unit 42. Next section, ransomware claims last 48h. One claim tracked across one group in the last 48 hours. These are unverified claims from ransomware leak sites, not confirmed breaches. Group victim sector country money message Forestdale, unknown. Next section, ransomware and extortion. Instructure pays ransom to Shiny Hunters. Instructure reached an agreement with Shiny Hunters to prevent the leak of 3.6 terabytes of data stolen from Canvas LMS, used by 30 million educators and students across 8,000 schools. Shiny Hunters exploited cross-site scripting vulnerabilities in the Free4Teacher environment to obtain admin sessions and exfiltrate usernames, email addresses, course names, enrollment information, and messages. After initial intrusion, attackers returned on May 7, using the same vulnerability to deface login portals and inject extortion messages targeting 330 institutions. Instructure says the threat actor confirmed no customers will be extorted and provided shred logs confirming data destruction. This is Shiny Hunter's second Instructure breach in 9 months. Action: organizations using Canvas should verify XSS protections in user-generated content features and monitor admin session activity. Remember that paying ransoms does not guarantee data destruction, and threat actors frequently re-extort victims or sell stolen data despite agreements. Sources: Bleeping Computer, The Hacker News, Cyberscope. The Gentleman Ransomware Group suffers data breach. The Gentleman, a ransomware-as-a-service group active since mid-2025, is experiencing internal correspondence leaked online through a breach of their own operations. Details are limited, but the incident highlights ongoing drama and instability within the cybercrime ecosystem. Source: Data Breaches. Net. State of Ransomware in 2026, Kaspersky reports ransomware attacks declined in 2025 across all regions, but the threat remains adaptive and persistent. Key trends: new families adopting post-quantum cryptography, PE32 ransomware using MLKEM/Kyber 1024, increasing use of EDR killers and BYOVD techniques to neutralize endpoint defenses before encryption, and a shift toward encryptionless extortion as ransom payment rates drop to 28%. Manufacturing sector alone lost over $18 billion in the first 3 quarters. Initial access brokers focus on RD Web as preferred remote access method. Action: prioritize EDR protection and monitoring for driver exploitation attempts. Review backup and recovery procedures assuming encryption may not occur. Prepare for data theft and extortion without file encryption. Source: Securalist. Next section, business and infrastructure threats. Checkmarx Jenkins plugin compromised by Team PCP published a malicious version, 2026.5.09, of the Checkmarx Jenkins ASD plugin to the Jenkins marketplace using credentials stolen from the March Trivy supply chain attack. The rogue plugin contains credential-stealing malware targeting CI/CD environments. Checkmarx confirms users should verify they are running version 2.0.13829. VC 72453, FA1C16, from December 17, 2025, or the new clean release 2.0.13848. V76E89 to 8A053. This is Team PCP's third attack against Checkmarx in 2 months. The group defaced the GitHub repository with the message, "Checkmarx fails to rotate secrets again." Action: verify Jenkins plugin version immediately. Rotate all credentials if the malicious version was installed. Investigate for lateral movement and persistence. Review Checkmarx IOCs published on their support portal. Sources: Bleeping Computer, The Hacker News. Mini-Shihulid worm spreads across NPM, and PI Team PCP launched a fresh Mini-Shihulid campaign compromising TAN Stack, UiPath, Mistral AI, OpenSearch, and Guardrails AI packages. The NPM worm exploits GitHub Actions via pull request target trigger, cache poisoning, and OIG token extraction to publish malicious packages with valid SLSA build level 3 provenance attestations. Affected packages include Guardrails AI at 0.10.1, Mistral AI at 2.4.6, at OpenSearch project/OpenSearch at 3.5.3-3.8.0, and 42 TAN Stack packages across 84 versions. The malware targets cloud providers, crypto wallets, AI tools, messaging apps, and CI systems. TAN Stack traced the compromise to a chained GitHub Actions attack, CVE 2026-45321, CVSS, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, 9.6. The worm spreads by locating NPM tokens with bypass 2FA enabled and publishing to all packages by the same maintainer. Action: audit package dependencies immediately. Check for affected versions in package. JSON/requirements. TXT. Rotate GitHub tokens and NPM tokens. Review GitHub Actions workflows for pull request target usage. Enable 2FA on all package registries without bypass flags. Source: The Hacker News. Ghostlock tool abuses Windows API. For file access denial, security researcher Kim Devash released Ghostlock, a proof-of-concept tool demonstrating how the Windows Create File W API can be abused to block access to files on local and SMB, small and medium business, shares. The technique opens files with exclusive access, DW share mode equals 0, preventing other users and applications from accessing them until handles are closed. Standard domain users can launch the attack without elevated privileges. Multiple simultaneous attackers can compound the effect. The attack generates legitimate file open requests, evading EDR and behavioral detection systems that focus on mass file writes or encryption. Detection requires per-session open file count monitoring with share access equals 0 at the file server layer, a metric not captured in Windows event logs or standard EDR telemetry. Action: implement file server monitoring for per-session open file counts with share access equals 0. Review SIEM queries and NDR detection rules in the Ghostlock whitepaper. Treat this as a disruption and decoy tactic rather than a destructive attack. Source: Bleeping Computer. FleetWave data breach confirmed. Chevron confirmed attackers accessed customer data in the FleetWave SAS outage disclosed in April. 1 month after bringing systems back online, the company notified customers that operational data, contact details, and payroll numbers were potentially exfiltrated during the breach. Source: The Register. State-sponsored actors. Long-term covert access. Cisco Talos analysis explains why responding to state-sponsored intrusions differs fundamentally from ransomware response. State actors log in with valid credentials, operate inside the trust boundary using trusted tools, and pursue espionage or long-term positioning rather than immediate ransom. Standard incident response playbooks designed for malware containment and ransomware recovery are inadequate. State actors conduct prolonged reconnaissance, exploit trusted vendor relationships, and maintain persistence for months without triggering alarms. Zero trust architecture becomes essential when adversaries operate with authorized access. Action shift from trust-based to verification-based security models. Implement continuous verification of credentials and access patterns. Establish baselines for normal administrative activity. Segment OT networks. Review supply chain trust assumptions. Source, Talo's blog. Next section, patch priority. Linux systems, dirty frag privilege escalation, CVE 2026-43284, CVE 2026-43500. Critical severity, reliable exploit in the wild. Patch immediately on shared and multi-tenant systems. ADCS environments, audit certificate templates and enrollment permissions. CVE 2022-26923, actively exploited since 2022. CIS a KEV deadline long overdue. Jenkins installations, verify checkmarks ASD plugin version. Remove malicious 2026.5.09 release. Rotate credentials if exposed. npm/PI packages. Scan for mini Shihulid compromised packages, TanStack, Mistral AI, OpenSearch, Guardrails AI, UiPath. 42 npm packages, 84 versions affected. iOS/Android. Update to iOS 26. 5 and latest Google Messages for cross-platform E2 EERCS messaging. Over 50 iOS vulnerabilities patched including kernel and WebKit flaws. Next section, vulnerability disclosures. FCC extends foreign router support deadline. The FCC softened its March 2026 ban on foreign-made consumer routers by extending the support deadline from March 2027 to January 2029 and expanding permissible updates beyond minor security patches. The original ruling prohibited new sales, but raised concerns about leaving deployed devices unpatched. The revision allows vendors to provide major software and firmware updates affecting functionality without additional FCC review. Security professionals note the ban addresses the wrong problem, as router security risks stem from default passwords, poor configurations, and lack of patching rather than manufacturing origin. Source, Dark Reading. OpenAI launches Daybreak AI security platform. OpenAI launched Daybreak, combining GPT-5. 5 models with codex security to identify and patch vulnerabilities before attackers exploit them. The platform builds editable threat models, identifies and tests vulnerabilities in isolated environments, and proposes fixes. 3 models power the effort. GPT-5. 5. General purpose with standard safeguards. GPT-5. 5. With trusted access for cyber, for verified defensive work, and GPT-5. 5 Cyber, permissive model for red teaming and penetration testing. Major companies including Akamai, Cisco, Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, Fortinet, Oracle, Palo Alto Networks, and Zscaler are integrating these capabilities. The initiative addresses the remediation bottleneck as AI-assisted research accelerates vulnerability discovery faster than patching can keep pace. Source, The Hacker News. CrowdStrike automated leads. AI-powered threat detection. CrowdStrike detailed automated leads, an AI-driven threat detection system powered by CrowdStrike Signal that surfaces subtle attack signs before they become breaches. The system shifts from individual alerts to entity-based scoring, assigning scores to every indicator and detection event, then correlating them by endpoint. When multiple positive events occur on the same host, scores are summed to identify threats that would be lost in noise. New capability isolates unusual processes and anomalous RMM, remote monitoring and management, tool usage. The approach addresses the limitation where noisy rules are suppressed due to high volume, allowing malicious activity to slip through. Source, CrowdStrike. Next section, General Security News. GM settles California CCPA violation for $12.75 M. California Attorney General settled with General Motors for $12.75 million over allegations the company violated CCPA by collecting and selling driver behavior and location data to Verisk Analytics and LexisNexis between 2020 and 2024. Data was collected through OnStar's smart driver system without proper consent and retained longer than necessary. GM made $20 million nationwide from the sales. The settlement is California's largest CCPA penalty and first enforcement focused on data minimization rules. GM must stop selling driving data for 5 years, delete retained data within 180 days unless consumers consent, request data deletion from Verisk and LexisNexis, and implement a stronger privacy compliance program. California drivers unlikely to face insurance premium impacts due to state law prohibiting use of driving data to set rates. Source, Bleeping Computer. Apple and Google launch cross-platform E2 EERCS, iOS 26. 5 and Google Messages now support end-to-end encrypted RCS messaging between iPhone and Android by default for all conversations. The feature enables high-resolution media, typing indicators, and read receipts between platforms while protecting message content in transit. A lock icon indicates encrypted conversations. The capability is the result of cross-industry collaboration through the GSMA RCS working group. iOS 26.5 also patches over 50 vulnerabilities, including flaws in Apple JPEG, Image I/O, kernel, MDNS responder, and WebKit that could lead to information disclosure, denial of service, or unexpected system termination. Source: The Hacker News. DOJ charges Premium Home Service with fake review scheme. The Department of Justice filed a civil complaint against BEST GDR LLC, doing business as Premium Home Service, and CEO Joseph Bernath for creating over 15,000 fake Google search and Maps business profiles with fabricated local identities, brick-and-mortar addresses belonging to unrelated businesses, and phone numbers routing to overseas call centers. The defendants posted fake consumer reviews using stolen staff photos from unrelated websites. The company collected fees claiming to be a local provider, but referred work to third-party contractors who often lacked qualifications, performed substandard work, arrived late, or failed to appear. The complaint alleges violations of the FTC Act, FTC Rule on Consumer Reviews and Testimonials, Illinois Consumer Fraud and Deceptive Business Practices Act, and Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act for obtaining payment card numbers through false statements. Source: DOJ. Fake Cloud Code installers deliver credential stealers. Attackers are distributing fake Cloud Code installers that deliver cookie-stealing malware targeting developer secrets and session credentials. The campaign represents a growing threat to development environments as AI coding assistants gain popularity. Source: The Register. Next section: Trends and Context. Supply chain attacks dominate the threat landscape this week, with Team PCP maintaining persistent access to checkmark systems despite remediation efforts and launching a sophisticated NPM worm with valid SLSA attestations. The pattern suggests incomplete credential rotation and missed footholds during incident response. Linux privilege escalation vulnerabilities arriving back-to-back highlight a concerning trend of severe kernel flaws, with reliable exploits reaching public disclosure before patches reach end users. The education sector faces sustained targeting, with both Canvas and previous FleetWave breaches exposing millions of student and staff records. That concludes today's cyber threat brief. From Carolina Clear Tech. Stay patched, stay vigilant.